Lucky Lefty Podcast. Honora Boys, we're in the building. We're brought to you by Honora Whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. Also, courtesy of Bleav Network, tap in. Apple Podcast, Spotify, presented by FanDuel. Just yesterday, Notre Dame had been installed as a 7.5-point favorite against the USC Trojans. I look today, that number is going up a whole 2 points. Notre Dame sits as a 9.5-point favorite. I think it has a little bit something to do with one position. We'll talk about it. Yes, FanDuel.com. Download the FanDuel app. And after a victory on Saturday night, take some of that Honora whiskey. But if you do, make sure you drink
responsibly.
Let's get it. Lucky Lefty, home of the misguided passion. Forever committed to making sure that we spin it. I am Shaun Davis, SD2 Mike's that dude, the original Lucky Lefty himself, MALIK ZAIRE, brought to you by Honora Whiskey. Go to YouTube, subscribe, make sure you hit that thumbs up, and then leave your comments and questions because we indeed respond to all. Bleav Network, that's where we sit. That's where we reside, especially on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And we are presented by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com or simply download the FanDuel app. Thank you for everyone joining us today. Had a great show yesterday. If you didn't miss it, all three of the cut-ups of the audio side are available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify right now. But today, the title of today's show, Left, is it's all about the slot. I'm not talking about Vegas. I'm talking about Vegas. That's not what I'm talking about, Left. Although I've only gambled once in Vegas, bro. I've only gambled once in Vegas. Once. It was at the blackjack table. I have to be honest. My brother got me to sit down.
How did you get to doing it one time, though?
I went with my brother. My brother told me he was going to the blackjack table, and my parents said, go with your brother. And my dad gave me specific instructions. Like, yo, when he gets to a certain point, get him to stop. And that's what I was there for. So while I sat next to him.
He was monitoring. Yeah, he was more monitoring.
No, I played a few hands, because I didn't want him to feel like I was watching him or monitoring him. He knew I really didn't do that. So after 2 or 3 hands, it was kind of normal for me to be like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So talking about spots, casino where the mothers sit with the big cup of coins and they just, play all day and yank all day. I'm talking about the slot position for Notre Dame. The slot position for Notre Dame is vitally important. Indeed, in this matchup, the weakness of Notre Dame in the passing game is the strength of the USC passing game.
Yes.
Flat out. That's what it is. Flat out. But there is one position that I think is going to play a major role for the USC Trojans, and I think it's one of the reasons you're seeing the spread kind of inching this way up. 9.5 is a lot of points.
It is.
Especially in a rivalry game. It's a lot of points. But if you have, my Dodgers came through last night too. They almost gave me a heart attack, but they came through. They tried to give me a heart attack. They tried, man. Shout out to Blake Snell. Woo, man, he was on one last night.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into that. Before we get to the numbers also tell me that this is a revenge game. The numbers also tell me that something or someone is going to steal the show.
Steal the show.
We're going to talk about, it's going to steal the show. We're going to talk about all these things. It's going to be a great show. If you have a GTB question, super chat, put it up because you guys were dope yesterday. You're the third co-host, man. And you guys were the best co-hosts. I mean, every day you're the best co-host around.
Every day.
Yeah, every day. So get the GTB questions in, super chats. Man, I'll save the recruiting part. This weekend might be bigger than the Texas A&M weekend. Recruiting stand. Oh, dude. They had more 5 stars. You have the cats that are decommitted from Penn State are coming in. They got a committed. Oh, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. Guess who's coming in?
Yep.
Guess who's coming in, man?
Yeah. Finally, the number one receiver. Exactly.
Where is he from, man? Where is he from?
He's from Marcus Freeman's high school. I literally said that on the tweet today. I'm like, finally, what are we doing? It's only right.
Would be happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that somebody watching the show. I know that somebody's watching the show for that to be the circumstance, considering he's already committed to Ohio State. So it's got to be something tied to Marcus Freeman and him going to the same high school. It's just, I mean, come on.
You know what? Here's the pitch, though. I got the perfect pitch. You can go there, wait your turn, or you come here and be the first.
Yeah.
Your quarterback, you can be the first rounder.
Yeah, because you got the quarterback.
Yes, sir. That's the pitch. Why go there and sit and wait when you can come here and be?
You could be a one right now.
Well, I'm not gonna say Jeremiah Smith because he's not. He's on. I think he's like 6'1", 190.
Yeah, he's not. He's not. Yeah, he's not his size.
Yeah. But you can come be the dude next year.
Just Faison times 2 is how I see it.
Yeah, for him to come, he talked about having his relationship with Marcus Freeman. He talked about how great it is.
That's like what I'm saying. Come on. This is an easy flip. It's an easy flip.
He says an easy flip, love.
Easy flip. If we had any chance with a 5-star number 1 receiver, this would be the situation.
This is it.
He's literally from the head coach's high school. Like, we got all things included. Like, come on, man. Like, this is not like a Keon Keeley situation or a Carnell Tate situation. This is close to home. Marcus Freeman should be personally, and he's the number 1 receiver. It'd be different, you know what I'm saying, if he was like just another receiver, but a franchise receiver. Come on,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
We haven't had a top 5 receiver ever, I don't think.
Yeah.
So why not it be the first from his own high school? I mean, come on.
Hey, man,
as an offense, we definitely need a number 1 receiver in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, this weekend is going to be monumental, especially for the 27 class. Monumental. Yeah. Can't wait to talk about it on Thursday. Lucky Lefty podcast. So, let me ask you a question along with everyone that's watching. Chat, light it up. Let us know what you think. Who is this a bigger revenge game for? USC, who says we had Notre Dame last year at home and we let them off the hook? Or Notre Dame saying that's not who we were? And they're not about to come into our stadium and put up 35 points on us and over 400 yards again. Who will have the biggest chip on their shoulder coming into this matchup, in your opinion?
I think it should be USC, considering I don't think the chip should be on our shoulder, considering we're thinking bigger and better. However, we do need to treat this game as just like every other game, we need to start fast. We need to know who we're playing and what they want to do and what they're good at. But this is definitely more chip on their shoulders in terms of can they hang with the big dogs? They were close, but can they actually be close enough to win this year? There, but for us, it's just another game to stack chips with. It just so happens to be USC, and we should keep that in mind. USC before the season wanted to end our whole rivalry. They said it was unnecessary. They wanted to focus on Big Ten and all this other stuff. So that's why I don't think it's a chip for Notre Dame necessarily as it is for USC because USC wanted to run. They didn't want this rivalry matchup. They didn't want this game in October. I mean, this is so what do we have a chip on our shoulder? They don't want to play us for real. So yeah, last year I think was an anomaly considering they didn't think that they would be as close as they were in a situation where it came to the last possession. I'm sure they probably feel better about us not being such a boogeyman now, but I think we still should be on routine and treat them like the team that didn't want to play us at the beginning of the season too.
I'm going to come at it from the other side, Left. I truly do believe that Notre Dame was kind of running out of gas in the regular season. That was a long stretch after Northern Illinois. I think every game was a must win. And to hold fast, they dominated everybody physically and were dominating up double digits on the road against USC. And then it's almost like they just hit a point where they just had no more reserves. Like, the scariest feeling in the world, especially with the digital gas meters, the scariest thing in the world is to see the two dashes with miles left. Right? You see 50 miles to empty. Yep. And you're driving and you forget. You get the low fuel sound and notification, and you're like, okay, I'll stop. But then you look up and you just see two dashes and you're like, okay, I don't know where I am. I know it goes to that right around 15 miles left. But I don't know where, like, yo, should I stop now? Do I have another 5 miles to go? Do I have 10? And I think Notre Dame kind of got to that point in the middle of that USC game in the third quarter where it was like, man, they were on fumes emotionally and kind of physically. Now, I think they come into this, especially the defensive players, feeling like they have something to prove. Like Lincoln Riley, Jaden Mayava, like we've had a Heisman Trophy winner walk into this building with an explosive offense. We dominated him.
Yeah, we made him look crazy.
And you're nowhere near the quarterback he is. I think this Notre Dame defense is going to play with a chip on their shoulder. I really do. And I think the advantage, schematically, I might be wrong, Left, so feel free to jump in. I think Lincoln Riley, after two matchups against Al Golden, found a rhythm in the second half. Or actually 3 matchups. The first matchup was the Heisman season for Caleb Williams. The second matchup was back home, Caleb Williams last year. Notre Dame dominated because Al Golden was able to counter what Lincoln Riley did the previous year. They go out to the Coliseum last year, and defensively they're okay for the first 2 quarters, and then all of a sudden, Lincoln Riley finds something. Notre Dame schematically gets to break that rhythm. This isn't another year where Lincoln Riley can be comfortable feeling like he knows the Notre Dame defense. This is where if Chris Ash wants to reintroduce himself to this fan base, this is the game.
Yep.
This is the game, Bleav. If Chris Ash wants to reintroduce himself and reset the market on who he is to this Notre Dame fan base, this is the game. This is the game because Lincoln Riley has to figure him out. He looks at film and knows what he's going to call, but what is his rhythm of play calling and when he calls things? It's different watching it on film and then being able to go up against that person 2 or 3 times and catch the rhythm and anticipate. It's different. So from that aspect, I think Notre Dame might have a little bit of an advantage early, especially early.
Yeah, first couple drives.
Especially early.
Because the last 2 games, the USC's first drives were touchdowns. So Lincoln had figured out something versus Al Golden where he didn't necessarily fear anything, but his opening scripts were on point. Now, like you said, this is Chris Ash's opportunity in a memorable moment to give off a performance like he has the last couple of weeks. It'll just be more spotlighted this week, considering who it is. Lincoln Riley's still a good offensive mind in college football stratosphere and all of that. And for it to be somewhat of a rivalry still and all things included, Chris Ash still is I think he's still hot right now. So some things we'll see that signify what makes his defense different. I think we'll see in this game, but also an opportunity for us to kind of reestablish that dominance back to when, Cam was saying that this isn't a rivalry. This is just another game. We do this to them all the time. Cam Hart, I'm referring to. And an opportunity. I think we should win by 17. Last year it was a little closer than it should have been. And this year, especially offensively, we're better. So which way does Lincoln Riley really want to play it? Because I don't think he necessarily wants to shoot out with this offense. At the same time, he's got to find a way to stay on the field too. I think he has a lot more to think about other than just it being a super dominant defense,
I'm glad you said that. So we agree. Both will have chips on their shoulder. We'll see which one is motivated by the other or motivated the most. This is interesting because I want to get into this because the next thing I want to talk about is what's real in this game. Like what's real in this game and then what's narrative. What's real and what's narrative. And Justin, ND Sniper, says, time to step up, maybe put more on Lemon. Thank you for that, Justin. As he pointed out, Notre Dame is 125th in the nation in slot coverage grade. That's obvious, right? And those numbers are in the 80s when Devontae Smith is on the field. He is still questionable due to the calf injury. So Dallas Golden and Carson Hobbs combined, they rank 129th. Not that much better with Devontae Smith, but indeed better.
Indeed better.
So we're talking about Makai Lemon, second best receiver in receiving yards in the nation, second in yards after catch in the nation, and second in forced missed tackles in the nation. He's a force. He's a force. That is the strength of their team. But I'm going to say something that a lot of people might disagree with. Makai Lemon don't mean a darn thing in this game.
He doesn't.
Makai Lemon can go off. You won't do a darn thing.
Nope.
You go back and watch the Michigan game. That game was a one-possession game. until Wayman Jordan gets hurt, and Wayman Jordan was the second leading rusher in the nation at the time. He was right by him, and Hollywood Smothers are very similar. Third in the nation, I apologize. Very similar. Here comes freshman King Miller out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, he breaks off 3 big runs and ends up with 18 carries for 158 yards. That's 8.8 yards per clip for a touchdown. Now, in the meantime, Mekhi Lemon has 9 receptions for 93 yards. That's 10 yards a clip. That's below his average. He's usually up around 11 receptions, 118 yards per game. But my point is, Mekhi Lemon could have gone off and done his thing. If they don't get 158 yards from King Miller, they don't have the balance. They don't win through. Jacoby Lane had 5 for 35.
I think that he's their best receiver, though.
So I understand the angst and the anxiousness concerning the slot position. If Notre Dame, who, by the way, has been really good against the run, they just held Hollywood Smothers to under 4 yards per carry. If Notre Dame holds USC under 4 yards per carry in this game, they're going to win by 10 points. Because that USC offensive line leaks. It leaked at times against Michigan. Several holding calls. Pressure that led to interceptions. And Notre Dame's defense is better than Michigan's, in my humble opinion.
I agree with that.
So, without question, yesterday it was a hard no. When someone, just as Justin N.D. Sniper said, put Leonard Moore on Mekhi Lemon. And that was like, man, nah. But then I thought about it. If they get into third down, because late in the Miami game, Leonard Moore ended up on MALIK Toney a couple of times on third down. Situationally, let's say 5 snaps, 5 important third downs. Cool. Christian Gray can play the boundary. He played it while Leonard Moore was hurt. Put Mark Zachary in on the other side against Tanuk Hines, the freshman, and let the freshman go at it. And take, because this is what I learned from watching the USC game against Illinois. I watched it again. And I watched the Michigan game again. You know what I realized? Jaden Mayava is a 1 to 2 read quarterback, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
He does not progress more than his second option. And 70% of the time, he's going right to the first. Whatever he sees pre-snap, that's where he's going. That's where he's going. He's totally different than C.J. Carr, who would sit there and scan the entire field and go through all of his progressions. Jaden Mayava is like 1, 2, I'm out.
Yeah.
This goes back to Chris Ash for me, Left. What picture can you paint to him pre-snap that can change post-snap? Because if you can get him off his first read, he starts to panic in the pocket a little bit. Even if it's not a lot of pressure. His feet get real active, Left. Because he's 1, 2, I'm out. So for me, King Miller in this game is far more important than Mekhi Lemon. Far more important. If USC is averaging 8 yards per carry, Notre Dame's in trouble.
Yeah.
They're in trouble. Let Mekhi Lemon do what he's going to do. 9, 10 receptions. Because you're not going to stop him. And then the other problem I have with putting more on Makai Lemon. If I'm USC and I see that, I'm a motion Leonard Moore to death. I'm going to run him back and forth across the formation all night long.
Yeah.
Come on. Run. Follow me. Instead of just being stationary and taking Jacoby Lane away. It was a hard no for me yesterday, but today, situationally, I can see it. I can see it. But for me, and
Yeah,
the King, go ahead. I'm sorry,
I
go ahead.
think you would have to change the defensive scheme in a sense if you start moving him specifically to cover just Makai, because we're not necessarily the same man team we were last year. So a lot of times we saw us play some soft zones. We've mixed it up. We've done some different things in the mix of a drive where I think it would just change too much if we're, for Leonard Moore reasons, to just start jumping all over the place for one guy. I do agree, like you said, if they're not running it at a high clip, Makai Lemon can have a field day. It just wouldn't be enough. You considering I'm thinking our offense is going to be in the 38, 40, 50 range. And can Makai Lemon score 7 or 8 touchdowns? Like, especially if they're not running the football great, I don't really see it. I think a huge key too is as long as USC in scoring drives has to score in 9+ plays, then I can live with that. Because one, I don't believe, like you said, that Maava is great enough to win a game having scoring drives that much. He would have to score some explosive throws, some short yardage stuff, but if they have to score points in drives that are 9 plays or plus, I feel good that they won't be able, one, to get to a point total or have enough time to climb back if that's how our defense is giving it up. And the longer they're on the field and the longer drives are, Maava is liable to give it up when it gets close to it. So, as long as we can play top down and not give explosive plays up, the explosive plays come when you miss tackles. So it's not necessarily a huge deal for Makai Lemon to be highly targeted or to even get catches. It's a matter of, taking away his strength of run after catch or catch during contact or whatever it may have you. But if he's second leading in the country in yards after catch, that's the dangerous part. That's just as bad as a running back going off for 200 or 150. If he's killing us on 5-yard routes like Malachi Tony was and turning it into 25-yard gains, and we watching Carson Hobbs chasing all day again, yeah, that's a problem. That's nothing different than an extended part of the run game. So as long as we can tackle after they catch the football, I feel still really good, especially if we can limit their, the counters and the things they love to do in the run game.
Super chat from Marlon Miller. Thank you for the super chat. With the way the offense is rolling right now, do you think we could have 2 receivers going over 100 yards against this Trojan defense? Go ahead, Love.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're starting to see CJ feel more comfortable in finding his guys outside of Fields. You saw a heavy focus the last game of them doubling Fields a lot, and he just went to Pauling, and he was wide open. So, especially with the amount of time CJ's throwing it deep, if you throw it deep past 50 yards 4 times, we're going to come down with it twice. That's 100 yards right there. So he's been able to find – CJ himself's been able to find yards in games clearly. I mean, he's been over 250 the last 3-4 weeks. So it would be easy. Now, the other hand is we do spread the ball in many different ways. You see running backs catching touchdowns, phasons catching touchdowns, your slot guys, your outside. So if it's not 2 for 200 or 2 for 100 each, it'll be like 5 with 65 to 85 yards each, which is still really good, because guys are just, getting in where they fit in. They're gonna run that tunnel screen with Faison. That's yards, and then they're gonna do the play action boot comeback to one of the receivers, and they're gonna throw a flood route that's gonna be open, and then you're gonna throw your post in there off of play action. It's just what we're gonna do. Slot fades feed families, and so you see that USC is going to use a slot heavy. We use a slot heavy, so I think our passing game is more competitive and on par with where theirs is, as opposed to last year. So it should be more exciting to watch and more opportunity, like we saw for our secondary last year, to make plays and continue to rise up the ranks. If any game, our nickel position, especially with Carson Hobbs and Devont and Carson Hobbs and Golden in there at the nickel position, what we will see is that if we play well, we won't be 129. We might jump up some numbers, so something to look out for.
Left, I'm glad you bring that point up because it's a perfect segue. What's real? What's narrative? Because what's real coming into this matchup is that McCree, Robinson, Makai, Lemon, Tanook Hines, Jacoby Lane, Jaden Richardson. It's a pretty good wide receiving core or group of pass catchers. Would you agree? Yeah, it's pretty good. Let me give you some numbers. Okay? Just in case people don't know. The Notre Dame wide receivers, third in the nation in receiving grade, second in the nation in explosive pass rate, top 5 in yards per catch, top 5 in yards per route run, and 11th in the nation in average depth of target. So we sit here and talk about the USC wide receivers and pass catchers, but I just gave you numbers that Left just talked about. That goes directly to that Marlon Miller super chat. Thank you for that, Marlon. It's a perfect segue to what I wanted to talk about. What's real and what's narrative? Because what's real are the stats I just gave you about the Notre Dame passing game, where you have to include C.J. Carr. We can talk about Lincoln Riley. We can talk about this Jaden Mayava, all the receivers, pass catchers, their passing game. By the numbers, Notre Dame has a better passing game. I just want to get to what's real. I know the narrative because of Lincoln Riley and USC. I didn't need the air quotes. But USC, that's the narrative, right? Oh, their passing game. Oh, it's going to be that's going to be a challenge for the Notre Dame secondary.
It's an irony thing. It's like Marcus Freeman is a passing guy. He has a passing game over there at Notre Dame. Marcus, the defensive, physical, tough run guy, has a passing game that's elite, not just good. Like you read the numbers. This is a better on average passing game that a defensive guy has. We want the sexy flexy stuff in California with the air raid genius, throwing for 400, 500 yards a game. That's what USC is known for. But it's a shock when Notre Dame can do something like that too. Yeah, ground and pound, cold, Midwestern, but we actually got a little bit of pizzazz. We can mess around and have 400 yards throwing with 3 or 4, 5 receivers going. What the numbers say so, and the film show is wide open. So we just have finally a guy that can get it there consistently enough. That was always what was holding us back from scaring y'all before.
I'm glad you said that. You turnabout, man. You the PG today. You setting me up. You're the podcast PG today. You're setting me up because I just gave you Notre Dame's numbers, right? What's real? Which offense is better? Because I know all the love is going towards USC, but the numbers bear out the truth. Notre Dame has the better passing attack. USC have the best receiver in the game, but the best passing attack. belongs to the Fighting Irish. That's what the numbers say. Another super chat. Before I get to this one, no, I'll read it. Joe773 Batters, thank you for the super chat. Bowen and company will need to lay the law down this Saturday. Hashtag Batters. Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. But I wanted to get to this from my boy, the Andretti. He said, I'm more worried about the defense for USC. And then I Bleav someone else saying, he said, how are the athletes in the secondary? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad someone asked me that question. Because the truth of the matter is, Bishop Fitzgerald leads the nation in interceptions. That's safety.
Look at that.
Kamari Ramsey is a second round pick in the NFL draft at the other safety. Good safeties. You ready for this though, Left? Because everybody wants to focus on Notre Dame's 125th in the nation in slot coverage. Makai Lemon. You want some stats, Left? Because I just showed you their safeties are pretty good. They are 107th in the nation in rush defense. 107. Ladies and gentlemen, 107. They are 126th against the pass. The secondary has a 59.3 pass coverage rate. The cornerbacks, just the cornerbacks, have a 51.3 pass coverage rate. The cornerbacks, the two cornerbacks, we're just talking about Dallas Golden, but Notre Dame secondary. Like, man, we're just worried about the slot. Both cornerbacks are 124th in the nation in coverage. 124th. That's how bad their cornerbacks are. 124th. So, like I said, the storyline is going to be, it's well within reason, to focus on Makai Lemon, the play calling of Lincoln Riley, Jacoby Lane, all of their pass catchers, the illustrious history of a USC passing game and wide receivers going to the NFL. I understand. But the numbers tell a different story. The numbers say Notre Dame has a better passing attack and a more productive pass catching group, along with a more productive quarterback.
That's why we say it's perception versus reality. Perception versus the perception is everybody thinks, that they still got Marquise Golden and Robert Woods and all these guys that they're so well known for. But they don't have them this week. They may got individuals that may play great, but the numbers of what we're playing as a unit, that's why when we spoke of defensive, what we want to see, I spoke on how they can play as a unit. If we can hold USC's offense to having them stretched out, having them have to put drives together, that's a taxing thing for an offense that, in my opinion, with their talent, won't be able to keep up. How are they going to just out of nowhere score 40, 50 points with a defense that's competent? Even if on our bad day, which was like last year, a bad day, we gave up, 32? With an offense that we have this year,
35,
on a bad
35,
day, 35? With an offense that we have this year, that's a bad day, and our defense gave up 35. In that same game, with offense this year, we're putting up 40 points at least. So even on our bad day, giving up defensively with an offense that we have now, you still don't have enough points. Remember, the last 2 weeks, we're leaving points on the 1 yard line, guys. Like, let's be serious. Yeah, it says it was 28-7 versus Boise State, and it was, our lowly 30s, whatever points we had last week. But But guys, we left 14 on the 1. Easy. That's a 50-point game right there. The Boise State game, we left 14 points in the 5-yard line. That's another 40-point game right there. So that's what I'm saying. We just got to stop playing all the time. We like Gilbert Arenas. We just can't stop playing. We just always, everything is a joke sometimes. Like, but we seriously, when he want to play, Gilbert Arenas give you 60. when he, so for us, I just think it's important that we just put a full offensive game together like we can, because this is a style game as well. Because like you said, it's perception versus reality. Everybody's perception is USC's offense is the strength versus our defense, which is perceived to be the strength, which it has been. But the underlying X factor is our offense. And by the numbers, our offense is more competent. So what is USC really coming with? They don't have a better defense. And by the numbers, our offense is better. So what are we saying? Special teams? What is USC really coming in here with? So that's why I'm excited that how our offense plays against another team that is known offensively. How do we stack up?
Now, Lefty, I love this. That's why I say we deal with the reality. That's the narratives, right? Our boy Tom Cone says Leonard Moore play nickel or we play zone. Lemon is the real deal. I think we've said that Mekhi Lemon is a real deal. So let's just go. Let's get some numbers, Left. USC lost 34-32 against Illinois. Mekhi Lemon had 11 receptions for 151 yards and 13.7 a pop and 2 touchdowns. He went off against Illinois. Guess what they ran the ball for against Illinois, Left?
What they run for?
3.7 yards per carry.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost the game with Mekhi Lemon going off.
Because it's not
you with me, Left? You with me?
Yeah.
Because I see through the crap with USC. I see through the crap. Let's go to Michigan. We could debate who's better between Michigan and Illinois. They're about equal to me. They're about equal. Mekhi Lemon has less receptions and less yards. He had 11 and 151 with 2 tutties against Illinois. Against Michigan, he has 9 for 93, 1 tutty, 10.3 a clip. But they won by 18. Guess why, Left? Guess why they won?
Why?
Because King Miller ran for 158 yards on 18 carries, and as a team, they ran for 224 and 6.2 a clip with 2 touchdowns.
You don't win a lot of games.
Mekhi Lemon, his numbers don't matter in this game. They don't. Mekhi Lemon is like facing a score. That's like going into a game saying, man, we got to hold Michael Jordan down. We got to keep LeBron under 30. I'm not talking about LeBron right now. I'm talking about prime LeBron in Miami.
Whoa.
LeBron, stop. Let me finish my point because I wasn't even going to go with you.
Sheesh.
All I'm saying is when players are elite, you're not stopping them from getting their numbers. You're not. You're not. There's nothing Notre Dame can do. If Mekhi Lemon sees Leonard Moore in the slot, he's going to get numbers. You know why? They're going to quick screen. They're going to do other things. They're going to motion.
A bunch of different things, yeah.
They're going to switch release. And he's going to have more space. Why? He has 70% of their receptions left.
Yeah.
He's the offense. He's the passing game.
He's going to get the ball.
Last week, he had 14 targets. They only had 25 receptions. 14 targets, and 32 dropbacks. 14 targets and 32. He is the passing game, Left.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was going to score because he was going to get up shots. You're not stopping him. Yes, you're not stopping him from scoring. You're not stopping Makai Lemon from getting his receptions. You're not. You're just, so we have to. That's why I said it's a narrative out there. But then the truth of the matter is, Notre Dame's not. They're not. They force feed him the ball. He's going to get 12 to 15 targets on Saturday night. And more than likely, he's going to catch between 8 to 12. He's that good. Regardless of who's sticking him, he's that good. And they're going to find a way to get the ball in his hands. Michigan has some very decent defensive backs. They found a way to give him the ball. Illinois' DBs, collectively, they're okay. Individually, in the slot, they're young. They're going to find a way to give Makai Lemon the ball. They just are. They force feed him the ball in their offense. He's 40% of their targets, over 40% of their targets every game. I think I said something crazy like 70. I was being hyperbolic. He's 40% of their targets in the passing game, Left. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Especially with Jacoby Lane on the other side.
Yeah, to get out of character to try to take it away, it's just not. I think we're better than that. Like, if he even has half of a good day, that's a good day for us, considering they're forcing the ball to him. So if he has 15 targets in this game and we challenge him and he only gets 7 of them, that's a good day. I'd rather run regular defense and take that. If we were just treacherous, where we had no overall team defense, those 15 could be 14 or 15 for 200 yards. You know what I mean? But that we got recruited guys that are getting a little bit of NIL money, and on top of that, they're getting better each game. So yeah, he got beat Dallas Golden did for a double move if he's playing in this game. You know, maybe he doesn't get beat this time, but he's getting that experience early enough in the season where remember, guys, this obviously every game counts, but this is not one and we're in fear of necessarily losing. We're looking ahead to finishing strong for the rest of the season for the playoffs, and these are good reps. It's the number 2 receiver right now in terms of production, and we're in week 7. So this matchup is great for any guy in the slot. You know, so because by the time we get to the playoffs, are we going to see a better player that we're not prepared for? I don't think so.
I'm looking at this. I believe Jaden Mayava, they did such a great job running the ball early in the game with King Miller, Eli Sanders, and Wayman Jordan. He didn't have his first reception until 11:16 of the second quarter, bro.
Wow.
Their run game set everything up, bro. And they have to do, in my opinion, they're not about to drop back Jaden Mayava 40 times and win this game. No. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
If he learned anything with Caleb Williams, he's not going to do it.
So that's game. I thought those stats were very interesting.
Yeah.
To point out, because the story is going to be USC's offense and their pass catchers. When the numbers bear out that the better unit up to this point in the season is the Notre Dame pass catcher, along with their quarterback, going up against 2 cornerbacks that are bottom 7 in all of college football in coverage rate. While Makai Lemon going up against 125th coverage rate when it comes to slot corners. Okay, that's one guy, one position every snap, both of your corners stink. Both. Against the third best receiving core in terms of receiving grade and second best explosive receiving rate in the country. Both of your corners are terrible. So I just want to think about this. With their corners being terrible against Notre Dame's passing game, and they still have to figure out a way to stop the run.
Right.
Their safeties are their best players. So
who are going to be involved in the run.
So do their safeties help their terrible corners all night and let Notre Dame run the ball? Or do they come down to help the run and leave those terrible corners man to man? I think USC has bigger quandaries on defense than Notre Dame, in my opinion.
Yep.
Mekhi Lemon is a problem. Don't get me wrong. Lincoln Riley's play calling is a problem. Dude, I watched that, bro. They set up some screens. Let me tell you why their screen game is so. They are coached really well on the offensive line in the screen game, left. Because their offensive line sells the screen better than anybody in the country. And what I mean by that, normally there's like a 2 count on screens for offensive lines.
Yeah.
Because usually screens look like a jailbreak.
Certain ones, yeah.
Right? USC, their interior 3 are still like staying with the blocks, just allowing themselves to get pushed back into the quarterback, which doesn't matter because he's fading back to set up the screen anyway. Like, they sell it. They ran another screen where it was an RPO, the running back goes through, and using an RPO, when you see that it's play action, the running back gets ignored. And they just ran that right into a screen.
Yeah.
It's like they disguised it. So, dude, they had Mekhi Lemon in the slot and like had him run a comeback across and set up a middle screen with him. They just do it in so many different ways. And it really helps because their tackles really aren't consistent. Like I said, their offensive line will leak. Holding calls, procedural penalties. So, left man, look, I know people are buying in to the easy, low-hanging fruit about this game, right? And that's warranted. But the stats bear out. That might not really be the facts about this game. USC has far more to worry about defensively. And they have far more to figure out defensively. If the only thing Notre Dame has to figure out is who's going to cover in the slot. That's it.
Yeah, that's really what it is, yeah.
Because Notre Dame has been stopping the run. They've been doing that.
Yeah, USC, that's not going to change, yeah.
And then the crazy thing is King Miller's a true freshman. And their backup running back after him is a converted tight end. Yo, look, there's a reason why this number keeps going up in Vegas. When you take a step back and really look at this game.
Reality, not perception.
Really look at it. Not perception. Really look at the reality. So I don't know what Coach Lynn, he has to choose his poison. I would venture to say that he's going to try to make this wide receiver core and tight ends, along with CJ Carr, beat them. That's what he's going to try and do. He's going to try and make CJ Carr beat him. Mm-hmm. Before
Yeah,
we switch left, Makai Lemon is going to get his numbers. That's all I want to say.
I agree. He's going to get his numbers. I don't think we need to change wholesale what we do to fix that. I think what we do scheme wise to limit it, but I think our bigger focus is continuing to be good at the run defense, and then in turn, we'll take our chances in the secondary like we have all season. And lately, we've been coming up with the football more times than not. And in a challenge like this, the worst it could be is 50-50. Lately, we've been playing 70-30 on teams. So a 50-50 challenge all game, and it'll increase for us as the game goes on because I think once USC gets down a certain amount, Lincoln Riley turns in Lincoln Riley, and it's just going to be a sack fest or an interception fest.
GTB question from D Monk, Mr. Food Lover. Could we use Kenny inside the 5 yard line? I know we aren't into playing two quarterbacks, but it's an idea. I look, Left, you talked about it yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
just bring all the running backs on the field. Just
I
let
mean,
somebody take.
why not? I mean, anybody but CJ at this point. That's all I'm. They're not saying that CJ, whatever, but it's the fact that the defense doesn't believe in CJ when he's on the field for short yardage. They're not respecting him motioning out. They're not respecting him switching positions on direct snap. So it's 10 versus 11 when CJ's out there to the defensive line until we start read optioning with CJ in those moments, which we just don't do. And clearly, Marcus Freeman says going under center is the last thing we need to be doing. So why not Kenny? Kenny's going to pull it. It's another option, another threat. If we need to put, like we said, all the running backs on the field and wishbone, that means there's 4 options then. I mean, hey, it's just a numbers game. We just can't be out there with 10 versus 11,
Yeah. And you have to win third down against this team. You have to. Like Left, make them matriculate the ball down the field.
Yep.
Shout out to Hank Stram. Make them matriculate the ball down the field. They're pretty good. They were 6 of 12 on third downs against Michigan. They were 8 of 14 on third down against Illinois. And really, third down is where Makai Lemon comes into play. So it's a pretty good bet on third down. It's either going to be a short route to Jacoby Lane, because Jacoby Lane is usually in the 4 reception for like 35, 38 yards. He's a possession receiver.
Yeah.
That's who he is. Someone said it. Tanuk Hines, they'll use Tanuk Hines and the other freshman receiver, the red shirt freshman receiver, Jay Richardson. He's a senior. I'm sorry. He's a senior, Jay Richardson. They'll use those 2 guys to try to go over the top. Makai Lemon, slot fades. He caught an incredible slot fade for a touchdown back shoulder against Michigan last week. It was nasty. Just straight nasty. GTB from Brian Hatton. Left, can you explain putting Kenny in just for victory formation? Yeah, that was weird. That would anger me more than not playing.
Well, if we're going by Marcus Freeman's explanation, nothing is garbage time, nothing is wasted. It's for some purpose, but I don't know, man. I just think that all this talk about them being so neck and neck, I don't think Kenny falls off a cliff where he's getting this sort of, sympathy snap. But, it'll work itself out. It's a tough game of college football playing quarterback. There can only be one. And no matter how close, if you ain't the guy, you just become the janitor real fast. You become the unwanted janitor that needs to be productive when called on. So if that's what you got right now, you got to execute, and then, The ball will shake your way at some point.
Well, I'll keep it a buck. When Notre Dame went up 27-7 with 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Kenny should have saw the field. That game was over. The game was over. For all intents and purposes, the game was over. They then got a safety to make it 29-7 with 8 minutes left on the clock in the fourth quarter. They're up 3 scores. Kenny could have come in again. And he comes in with a minute left. After they got the safety to go up 29-7, he could have come on the field with 8 minutes left. I mean, that's, but I think at that point, Notre Dame's offense had been sputtering and struggling. So I don't have any problem with them keeping CJ in the game because they probably want to work on some things, but there have been opportunities to get him in the game.
He's not going to get any opportunities of meaningful time because, you see the news. They trying to get CJ in New York. So,
Oh, he's at this rate, he's going to be in New York. I was just pointing out that game was well in hand, bro, at 29-7 with 8 minutes left. We're getting ready to get the ball back off the safety.
No, I agree. I think whatever.
Sean Stewart, thank you for the GTB. Don't get cute with them trying something out. Go for the jugular and don't let up.
I just think it's a good example to see how Jeremiah Love is our lead back. They get, boom, you get the first 2, no matter what. Darian, you get in there, get the second 2, no matter what. They both, arguably neck and neck, great talents, whatever. We found a way to get them both on the field. Marcus Freeman loved playing 1A, 1B, 1C players. It's a great thing for our roster. If CJ and Kenny saw 1A, 1B up until the first game, why not? If anything, it just creates more of a challenge for our coaching staff to be creative and to use all of our players. I think one thing we did during the time I played, we just like to treat them like record labels, put guys on shelves just because we're too lazy just to include everybody. So we just going to use the hell out of one guy at a time. Because it is a challenge when you got a lot of good players that deserve to play in some right. And it's a lot easier to just be like, well, we got Jadarian and Jeremiah Love, so that solves that. But I saw a picture of Nolan James. I didn't know he was that big.
Legs, his thighs are.
The dude is. I was like, who is that? That's our 4th running back. Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, I get a little upset because I feel like Marcus Freeman should want more. Be a mad scientist in that sense of how can I get all of my guys. I thought it was so cool because I really didn't know that. What was it? It was a coach before Lou or Lou Holtz that played everybody on the roster. He just played everybody. Like, everybody's going to play. We're just going to hit you with waves of dudes, like that whole thing. And when you recruiting that well, why not? You're going to win the damn near game before you go in. I'm sure Nolan, James, and Nias could have found some time to get 100 yards here or there the second half of Purdue or the second half of some of these games where we're mopping teams. I think it's just good for team morale. But even with that, I just don't see how you can do that in parts but not in whole, under the same thing.
I understand. That's a great question. I get it. I see both sides, man. The offense is struggling. They would have had 7 more points, but Jadarian Price fumbles inside the 5. Maybe if Jadarian doesn't fumble, Kenny gets in the game the next drive. Who knows? But it's
I don't
definitely.
think we have. I don't think our ones are so head and shoulders above the twos. Is what I'm saying. Clearly, we see a prime example at the highest level with our running
Well,
back.
I disagree with that at certain positions. There's a drop off at tight
Where?
end. There's a drop off at tight end after Eli
Oh,
Rare.
oh, oh! I mean, that's the
Uh,
only
uh,
position. That's the
uh,
only position.
Micah Gilbert was injured, so after him, there's a drop off at boundary to
Where?
Malachi Fields. Who Micah Gilbert's hurt? Who's for Malachi Fields?
Let me think of the roster.
Exactly. You can't
Oh,
even
let
name
me
it.
think of the
Yeah,
roster. Let me think of the roster.
exactly.
Hold on.
I know who it is, but it's a drop off. I know who it is. I'm telling you, it's a drop off.
A drop off from top ACC receiver from last year. Okay, I mean, how far is the drop?
There's a considerable gap between Cam Williams and Malachi Fields. Left. Come on, man.
I mean, we're saying
Come on.
for prestige, sure. For
We're
prestige,
not stop that prestige. We're talking about production. We're talking about reality. That's what we've been talking about today.
Fields
Not perception.
Number one receiver in the ACC. Of course, Cam Williams is not going to be the.
Well, you asked. You just made it seem like it was just fit, plug and play. It's not. Not to get the same production.
Okay, timeout. You don't think if we plugged and play Cam Williams with what we're doing on offense,
he's not going to. No.
Come on, man.
No.
We talking about go routes. What is Malachi Fields running? Go routes, slants, and hitches. He ain't doing nothing.
You are so disrespectful, bro.
How?
First of all, you can't say he is the number one wide receiver from the ACC, and then just because he runs a certain amount of routes, that there is no drop. What are we talking about?
I didn't say.
You literally are trying to make a case for it being plug and play for Cam Williams if Malachi Fields.
In this offense, Cam Williams can go out there and run
do the same thing Malachi Fields does at the same level.
Be at the highest clip, but we're
running that means okay. Let's say Cam Williams. Let's say no. Let's say Cam Williams, because Malachi Fields wasn't wide open against Texas A&M. Will Lee was giving him the business on certain routes. Certain reps. Okay, Cam Williams is not doing nothing with Will Lee.
But
not right now.
Williams in the last 4 or 5 weeks, you telling me he couldn't go out there and get you something?
You're losing this argument. You're losing this argument. You're losing this argument.
Cam Williams is not Malachi.
You know why? You're allowing your quarterback conversation to spill over into everything else. There's a considerable gap at the boundary receiver. There's a considerable gap at tight end. There's a considerable gap at tight end. In pass catching.
What way though? And that they can't go out there and be productive.
You watched the game. You watched the game. Who has been targeted when Kenny's in the game? Who is he thrown to?
Exactly. Guys that I don't even know their names of. But Cam Williams, I know the name of him.
Cat.
Do I know the walk-on number 33?
I can tell you the two main receivers that get targeted by Kenny Minchie.
33. The
walk-on. That was against Arkansas. I'm talking about outside of that.
Okay, outside of that, they've been giving him.
Cam Williams hasn't seen the field.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
So don't compare him to Malachi Fields. Stop. What are we doing?
I'm not saying he's Malachi Fields. I know he's not Malachi Fields. I said you can't compare the leading ACC receiver from last year to a guy that hasn't played. I understand that. I'm saying that the gap isn't so far off where Cam just can't go in there and do a couple things.
It is.
Oh my God.
Stop. The point of a gap is not the same.
It's not.
That's the point of a gap.
But what are we going against that it's not the same? We're not going against Miami every week.
Okay. My point is, if they're going up against Miami or Texas A&M, it will accentuate the gap.
But we're
that
not.
exists.
We're going against who are we going
It will. What you just admitted that Cam would not be able to do the same thing against Will Lee that Malachi Fields did.
But Cam can he can be as productive as Malachi Fields are against the corners we're going against. What are we talking about?
So
Cam
now your point,
last week.
You're basing your point on bad corners?
Yes, that's what we're playing.
So basically, I can go catch the ball on bad corners in this offense.
SD, you got to put some respect on your Chicago friend or your Chicago guy right there.
No, Left, because look, I disagree with your premise. I disagree with your premise.
Cam Williams was
somehow there is. Let me explain. Let me explain. I don't think there's a huge gap between KK Smith and Jordan Faison. I wouldn't say there's a huge gap. I wouldn't say there's a huge gap between Will Paulding and Jaden Grayhouse. It's not. But when you go to Malachi Fields and what's behind him with Micah Gilbert hurt, there's a huge gap. When you go to tight end,
what does huge gap mean?
Left. All right, Lucky podcast. Let's move on.
I'm saying in this offense, in what we're doing on offense, you're telling me Cam can't do what? What he may not come
against the best competition. He cannot do what Malachi Fields does against the best competition. That's what I've been saying for the past 10 minutes.
I said that's fine, but that's 2 out of 10 games.
That's when we need them in the playoffs.
Okay, but right now, Cam Williams can play. He can play this week.
Well, you know what?
Now, next week,
I will wholeheartedly agree. Yes, I'll agree with you against North Carolina State.
What's the drop off?
First of all, it's a drop off regardless of who you play.
Obviously,
that's like saying, oh, LeBron's injured tonight, so whoever's going to play in his place, since we're playing against the Wizards, they're going to put up the same numbers that LeBron puts up. Come on, man.
Now. Hold on now. Is Malachi Fields LeBron to Cam Williams? What are we talking about?
Come on, man. Stop. I agree that players can come in against the competition they're playing and produce. Absolutely, I agree.
Yes, he could go out there and get him 50, 60 in this offense. He just got to run down the field.
Stop. He's not going to get 50, 60. Come on, man. The Joe Batters. During short yard situations, we need to adapt to what Bama does to have tight ends, O-line, along with Love or Price on the backfield. No. Who? We said this yesterday. Who? You don't have a Caden Proctor on the roster. You don't have a 375.
Handing it to him.
No. You don't have that athlete. This dude is catching passes, breaking tackles, forcing missed tackles, and he's 365, 370. We just don't have that. We don't have that athlete. Our left tackle is Anthony Knapp. You want to hand the ball to Anthony Knapp? Send him out in a route. Is that? I'm like, man, but we're overthinking this short yardage situation. And if you missed yesterday's show, just go watch yesterday's show. It's real simple. It's 4th and half a yard. Get your butt under center and quarterback sneak.
Yeah.
We're really overthinking this. It's 4th and 1. You just ran up the middle for the first touchdown with Jeremiah Love. You come right back the next drive and get a 4th and 1 and get cute. Like, we don't have to do all of that. Put linemen in the backfield. Man, look. You got a running quarterback. You have 2 running quarterbacks. Heck, you use one of your running quarterbacks to run a fake punt in the game. I wouldn't mind seeing Tyler Buckner in short yardage situations.
Yeah, our fake punts have been more successful than our short yardage. Which is
now Halsey. Look, I wouldn't mind giving Drake Bowen the ball. He's an all-state running back. He literally was an all-state running back. I wouldn't mind giving Drake Bowen the ball. Man, they have so many options. So many options. The easiest is quarterback sneak. If you can quarterback lead with him 16 times against Miami or 8 times against Miami, surely he can quarterback sneak. You would think. Now, somebody actually reached out to us yesterday. This is a dope show today. That's why I said, man, you guys are the best third co-host. Cat is always lit. This is interesting, love. Somebody hit us up and said CJ is a option in the run game. And I just shook my head. Or he's capable. Let me say it correctly. He's capable of running the ball.
What is
and
that?
I said, we know he's capable. We saw it. He can run straight ahead.
Yeah, the man. Yeah, like,
but he can't run laterally. He can't. We've
at
seen it.
all. At all.
He hasn't outrun a defensive end yet.
At one point, he was leading.
I'm talking about. Let me make sure I give, because people will run with it. In RPO, where a defensive end is standing there waiting on him and not crashing and leaving everything open, he has yet to beat a defensive end to the corner. Now he's gotten out of the pocket, dropping back the pass, and been able to get around the corner a couple of times. But I'm talking about strictly RPO, which would directly correlate
to run
to short yardage.
You asking of something that he himself doesn't want to do. He's had multiple opportunities in games where he's had running lanes to run, which would probably be the best decision, and he's chosen otherwise. At one point, he was leading the nation in intentional groundings because he can't get away from guys in certain positions. So I don't think it's something where he's not capable, but that's not the best way we could do it. That's all we saying. And it's just, it was a luxury looking back now in hindsight to have a Riley Leonard where this topic of conversation wasn't even here last year. It was just an automatic run Riley Leonard up the middle. Now it became this trigonometry exam where we making this way harder than it should be, but it's simple mistakes too. It's like, come on, guys.
And honestly, what they did on the fake punt, bring Tyler, like you said, Tyler Buckner's going to end up with a Netflix documentary 10 years from now. ESPN 30 for 30. And it's going to be fire. Use them. Like I said, we've seen bad teams coming to Notre Dame Stadium, getting short yardage. We just watched North Carolina State have their quarterback of the future lead the game on 3rd and 4th and short for a guy that's strictly a running quarterback to convert a first down. If everybody else can do it,
Buck definitely needs he definitely needs a 30 for 30 though. I mean, first of all, I don't know how you do some of the stuff he's done or when he's had time to do it. He quit the sport to play. Didn't he quit or something like that? He quit football.
No, he went he transferred to Alabama.
Didn't they win the championship that year?
No, that was the year they were awful. That was Saban's last year. Okay, they got to the Rose Bowl and lost to Michigan.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what it was.
And he leaves
Comes
there,
back
comes back to Notre Dame, plays lacrosse.
as a student. Came back as a student. I don't know how do you even. Yeah, how do you do that? How do you do that?
You know, family got that guap.
Yeah, that's okay.
I
Because I'm
mean,
like, I
some
can't
people are
think.
blessed.
Yeah, I can't think of no other way of. Okay, so he gets back into school. Then, like you said, he walked on, or he got a scholarship. What happened with lacrosse?
Well, he came back to play lacrosse, but then because that was the announcement, he was coming back to Notre Dame, but he was coming back to play lacrosse, and then he walked on as a wide receiver. Yada yada yada.
So he walked.
So
Yeah, this is crazy.
talked to Marcus Freeman, said, "I want to come back for to the team." Asked for permission. Marcus Freeman said yes. You know, it's a 30 for 30. Like I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
Goldman
man.
Sachs is in there somewhere. His sister play somewhere. So it's now he third string. You know, like
Now something has to happen. Something has to happen to counteract the Texas A&M bobble snap.
well, he got that first down.
No, that's not big enough. It's
Oh, it's
not big
not
enough.
big enough. Well,
Now, Saturday is a stage. Saturday is a stage. And shout out, Notre Dame needed this game. That's why I think Notre Dame's going to be hungry. Because 2 weeks ago, I didn't think Notre Dame was going to have another ranked opponent that they face. But woo, thank you, Michigan. Thank you, Michigan, for getting smacked up and down out at the Coliseum and allowing USC to be elevated back inside the top 25. Oh, that's all Notre Dame needs. One ranked win. That'll do the trick. Let's go. That will do the trick. I look. Hossy said, you know his Bama credits didn't transfer. Oh, he probably took the classes again. That's wild, Hossy 03, but you're probably right.
yeah,
Man,
yeah,
admissions probably looked at the Bama classes like, come on, man.
yeah. Like, so did Marcus Freeman put him back on scholarship, or is he still a walk on?
Left, I don't think it matters, bro. If he had the guap to come back,
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's a scholarship guy right now, which is like the biggest joke on it. Like, he was recruited as the number one quarterback here. Currently not on scholarship as the number 3 quarterback here. After Marcus Freeman told him he shouldn't be here. That's crazy. I don't know.
man.
He needs a 30 for
So
30, man.
what's fact, what's reality, right? We titled the show is all about the slots for a reason. Slot receiver, slot defensive back. But as we get ready to let you guys go, and we're going to hear from Marcus Freeman talking about this matchup. What's real, and what's reality? On the way out left, I will ask you this. Are you nervous about this game?
I'm nervous for us to give up points in situations where we should totally win them. I mean, you know, I feel better about a 3rd and 17 and a 3rd and 1. So that's what I'm nervous about. Those type of plays changing the game.
Dude, just to get my point, Michigan was down 7 and had gotten USC into a 3rd and 22, if I'm not mistaken, bro. And Miller breaks off like a 70-yarder on the 3rd. They're just trying to get off the field, bro. And the kid breaks off a 70-yarder. Come on, man. You I just don't see that type of stuff happening. I just don't. Not Saturday night. Not on 3rd and 22. Now, some crazy things have happened, especially this season. But I just don't see it happen. That's just me. So I'll tell you this. There's no reason for me to be nervous about Makai Lemon because he's going to get his numbers.
Right.
Why would I be nervous about a dude that's going to put up his numbers? I'm not nervous about
He's
that.
like Kevin Durant on Brooklyn.
He's going to get his numbers. It's like, I'm not nervous about that. I'm not nervous about Jaden Mayava. It's not like he is a surgeon in the passing game that's just going to dissect you. I'm not nervous about him. I'm a little nervous about the matchup between Lincoln Riley and Chris Ash. Okay. A little nervous.
Because it can swing either way?
Because I just don't trust Chris Ash not to do something just like, why are you dropping a defensive tackle right now? Like his calls, that can be sticky. More than anything, I'm nervous about what Notre Dame team steps on the field. Really, that's the only thing I'm nervous about. Which Notre Dame shows up.
That's right.
Which we've seen C, we've seen B, we've seen A. Which Notre Dame team is going to show up? I would prefer A. That's what I would prefer. I'll take B and still feel confident that that's a pretty significant win. C, that's when it gets tricky in this matchup. I don't see Notre Dame holding USC to 7 points. I don't see it. I guess it's earthly possible.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I just don't see it. So,
like you said, anything's possible, I guess.
That's a good question. Do you think Lincoln Riley is going to target Christian Gray after last year's game? The strength, look, 40% of their targets go to the slot. Is he going to take a shot down the field? Probably. But last year, he had Makai Lemon, Jacoby Lane, and Deuce Robinson.
Yeah.
You don't have Deuce Robinson this year. Deuce Robinson had like 2 or 3 big plays in your last year's matchup. So Tanuk Hines, like I said, he's a freshman. The Robinson kid, the senior. Yeah, I mean, of course you take your shots. You take shots in any game. You're not taking shots against Leonard Moore.
No.
Not down the field. So I guess by default, you have to take shots against Christian Gray. I don't think it has anything to do with last year's game. It has everything to do with the dude that's on the other side of the field.
That's right.
Who else are you going to take shots at? You're definitely going to go at the slot. And when you go down the field, the only other option on the outside is whoever Christian Gray is defending. So, yeah, Irish fan, I agree. Al Golden struggled a little bit with Lincoln Riley. So, Chris Ash. This game, to me, is the calling card for Chris Ash when it comes to Notre Dame fans. If his defense performs, Notre Dame fans will man, they'll be like, okay, that's our defensive coordinator. That's our guy. Going up against Lincoln Riley, yep. If they hold USC under 20, that's fantastic.
Fantastic. He had a top 5 offense under, so
fantastic. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Before we get out of here, we'll let you guys hear your head coach, Marcus Freeman, talking about the matchup. This is what he had to say.
Have a great challenge that lies ahead in Saturday in USC. 5-1 team, talented, well coached. They're playing well. Their offense is, I think, number one in the country in yards per game. And it's a balanced attack. It isn't just one-sided, not throwing it for they're just throwing it or they're just running it. It's a true balanced attack. They're doing a good job in both phases there. And, it starts with the quarterback who's playing well. He's not taking many sacks. Credit to the O-line. He's delivering the ball, making good decisions, not turning the ball over. He's playing well. And number 6 is I've respected him from last year, seeing him. Like he's a dude. He is a good football player, tough, plays the game the right way. And then the wideout number 8 is a great player. So they got weapons all over the place. I know they lost a couple running backs, but the guy at 30 came in. He had some explosive gains, and no offense is running for that type of yards without having a really good offensive line. And so it'll be a challenge for our defense. And their defense is an aggressive attacking unit. They're getting pressure with 4 guys, and I think they're 5th in the country in sacks. Their D line's really good, and I think they forced 11 turnovers, which is top 15, top 20 in the country. So. They're playing well on both sides of the ball. They're a competent team, just had a big win over Michigan, and so we got to continue to focus on what's important. That's the preparation. That's what's important, is the way we prepare for this opportunity we have on Saturday, and we'll continue to do that. So,
yeah, I mean, he's got to get up there and say what he's got to say. I think this is a good opportunity for us to go out there and put a stamp on what we believe we can finish as a 10-0 season after those 2 losses. And this is a great midpointing game that can tell a lot about our team to ourselves and just to college football. Because to ourselves, we need another challenge similar to what Miami and Texas A&M presented to us, which is a good receiving core. And that's something that's going to, 3rd time's a charm, help us get ready for the playoffs, where that's hurt us early, but it shouldn't hurt us again. And if in doing that, like you said, Chris Ash can be, in my opinion, looked at in a better light under Notre Dame conditions and fandom, just because I think the rough start was only rough to the fandom. I think he knew the first couple games he was going to have to figure some things out. But that's because it's your first day on the job. I mean, oh my God, we're very critical of people on the first day on the job. But he seemed to have figured it out enough to give me the confidence that this game he can definitely turn things in the right direction.
Yep, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Go to FanDuel.com because we're presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app and you'll see Notre Dame as a 9.5-point favorite against the USC Trojans as they're led into Notre Dame Stadium, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday night by Lincoln Riley. And not only are they 9.5-point favorites, you can go to the prop bets, and you already see CJ Carr's over/under pass yards. They expect the game. 285.5 passing yards for CJ Carr as a total. Jaden Mayava, 281.5. So they expect a big passing game from him as well. Now, the rushing attack, they have no USC running back. They don't even have a number up for those guys. They do have the quarterback up at 7.5 yards as a total. CJ Carr actually has a total as well at 11.5. Jadarian Price is at 70.5, and Jeremiah Love is at 94.5.
Here we go.
You can find all of those prop bets and those legs if you choose to grab them and walk in them while watching the game, or walk on them while watching the game. You can find them at FanDuel.com or by downloading the FanDuel. Great show today, man. We're glad we could talk a little reality versus perception about this matchup. As Marcus Freeman said, number one offense in total yards. But the one thing he said that I really tried to push today, it's not about what they do in the pass game. Because when they can't run for over 4 yards, they don't win.
They don't win.
And that's not just this year. You can go back last year, and the same thing will hold true. The key to stopping USC is making them one-dimensional and allowing the quarterback, who only gets through 2 reads at the most, not to see a clear picture post-snap. Everybody's been great. Dope. You're the best third co-host in the nation. Go to luckyleftypod.com for all of our great merch. And once again, you can go right here that we put in the chat. You can go download on Bleav Network, the link right there in the chat to Apple Podcasts. Tap in with us, guys. Hit that link for us if you're in here right now and start downloading all of our audio content over at Bleav Network. We are the home of the misguided passion and forever committed to making sure that we spin it
different.
For Left SD2 mics, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll go behind enemy lines with Big Ten Network's Howard Griffith to talk about USC and more background. There's some stuff coming out about this James Franklin firing that we want to get you guys in tune with. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.